Hey guys, I want to share something with you. Just got back from a walk, and while it's on the walk, I observed some thoughts. And it was actually at the beginning of the walk, and part of me wanted to turn around and go back and grab the phone and record. Drop the phone. And I'm like, no. I'm gonna finish the walk, and perhaps some more thoughts will arise that wish to express through me. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I finished the walk and didn't look back, didn't turn around and go grab the phone. Because as I'm here now making the video, I'm thinking, and I was thinking after I decided to finish the walk and not turn around, some more thoughts arose. One being, all it takes is for us to slow down, to breathe, to simply be in the now, to move, to shift from compulsiveness to consciousness. Simply take a few moments and be present. Enjoy life as it's expressing as you, the life that you are, the life that we are. Same life in me that's in you and everybody. And thus, naturally, when you see this, you'll treat life accordingly. Not just the life around you, but you, the life that's in you. Everything you do, you'll seek to serve that life within you. And that you being and acting towards yourself, your energy, affectionately, will naturally translate to you being that way towards the rest of humanity. Because love is not something you get. It's a way of being in the world. It's a way you relate to the world. It's a way of saying, hey, we're all a part of this. We're all one big family. And thus, you acting towards yourself affectionately, naturally, turns into love and service to all of humanity. As you treat that life within you with high value, you realize that your high value, your worth, and you see that in everything else around you. And so to take a few moments to shift from having, oh, I have this is mine, this is my property, I gotta do this. To shift from having, even from doing, gotta do this so I can accomplish this, and then I'm in a never-ending cycle of chasing something outside of myself other than where I'm at now. So we shift from having to doing to being, to simply being. And naturally, when you become rooted in that consciousness, move from compulsiveness to consciousness, to a simple watchfulness, which is the transcendent element in the human experience. All polarities, all dualities, both pleasure and pain, happiness and distress, joy and misery, all these things are temporary. But the one thing, the transcendent element that's permanent, is that watchfulness. Simply being in the moment, that presentness. It's a natural persistence. It's inborn within us. You need not search for it. It's way beyond seeking. It's simply seeing the world as it is, as it's here now, as it appears now. You need not try to pick apart, analyze, and dissect. Try to figure out the how. It reveals itself. both the how and why reveals itself. Why am I here? Looking for meaning. Man's search for meaning. Spiritual truth has no meaning because it's that infinite, timeless silence, the presence that's in between the thoughts, that empowers the thought process. Think about water. Water can't rise higher than its own level, where it is right now. And so too, thought can't think what's higher than thought. Thought can't conceive the power that generates it because it's the silence behind it. It's the timeless sense of oneness, of simply relishing your own existence. You realize that everything is a manifestation of consciousness, your consciousness. A lot of people don't understand this. They don't realize when they complain or say the world has defects and this needs to be changed and bettered and whatever. They don't realize that's a projection of their own consciousness. That's a confession of their character. It's not the world that has problems. Life doesn't have problems. Problems only exist within an individual, if they believe so, if they suggest that to themselves. A lot of people don't understand the power of suggestion. You can suggest to yourself anything. That's why we want to be aware of what we wake up thinking. That's really how we can assess our spiritual progress, too. Simply that watchfulness. Watch the thought process. How often do you think of God? That's really the true measure of spiritual progress. To be rooted in that consciousness, that simple presentness, the silence, the watchfulness. To move there from compulsiveness. We all have that animal element within us that wishes and seeks and searches something outside of us, seeking energy externally. But when we realize the powerful, potent, and pure energy within us, naturally we'll move from seeking to being, from compulsiveness to consciousness, from I gotta go get this to that simple presentness, the watchfulness. We'll realize that all of this creation, existence is beauteous. And though we'll appreciate the beauty, we won't live for it. We'll realize that there's a transcendent element. There's something beyond it. Of course, simultaneously within it and transcendent to it. It's that energy that we can try to ascribe words to and analyze. But fundamentally, it's ineffable, indescribable. And we can only get in tune with that, harmonically attuned to that, vibrationally, raise our frequency through that simple watchfulness, being watchful. Because there, here, we come in tune with the infinite silence. Just imagine, if one could imagine what it's like to be omniscient, to be omnipresent, to be the simultaneous witness, the one observer, that's neither here nor there, nor now. Now disappears into infinity, because that one awareness, that ever-present observer, is all around us in everything. And there, time ceases. There is no sequence. There is no here nor there. There is no me or you. Because here turns in everywhere. The illusion of change is transcended. Because, like I said, time ceases. There is no sequence. Change only seems to occur in terms of sequence and form. But when there's no identification with the content of the world, with the form, with the beauty, with the trees, you can appreciate its beauty, but not identify with it, right? You can see that it's purely content, and that essence of existence, the source, the intelligence, which animates everything around us, within us, is the simultaneous witness. It's the one observer. It's in everything. It's what we can call pure awareness. Pure attention needs no discrimination. Of course, with intuitive wisdom, we can be guided by that scrutinizing awareness, and thus utilize intelligent discrimination to help us navigate the world in terms of whatever we're guided to do, whatever we were brought into existence for, our why, our reason for being. It can help us see through the seeming confusion. It can help us, we can help us see through the... See, this is what happens when you get in the flow. You just start talking and it's pouring out of you. You're not trying. I didn't plan it. I didn't plan to make a video today. I woke up and said, hey, I'm gonna go on a walk today. And the inspiration to make a video arose in consciousness. It wasn't planned. So we want to give ourselves some time. Not always plan. Definitely don't want to think that I'm the man. You know, be full of ourselves, right? We don't puff ourselves up, be prideful. Want to realize that, hey, I'm simply a channel. I'm an unconditional channel for God's will. I don't take credit for it. Because in that space of humility, when there's no self-image present, there's no separate identity, there's no religious or even spiritual identity, there's no identification with the belief system, which is really a limitation, right? Oftentimes, our limitations are simply arise from our own self-suggestions, our limiting self-definitions. That self-image that seems to be separate from the world around it, that doesn't feel that intuitive connection with the rest of creation. I talk a lot about freedom. Freedom from that self-image that believes it's thoughts, that believes it's a body, and thus believes it's separate. Of course, we all have a mind and a body, but we're not a mind and a body. We're the spirit, we're the awareness within the mind and body. We're the energy within it. And when we identify as such, we'll be able to compartmentalize the other elements of the human experience. They have to do with the body and mind. We will be transcendent to time. And so we want to be aware of the thought process. Be aware what we wake up thinking. Slow down. Get in tune with that simple watchfulness. Certainly don't want to wake up and fill up on some food, right? Because if you just charged up, spent the night sleeping, right? Now we're charged up. We didn't expend any energy while we're sleeping. We gained energy, right? So we don't need to wake up and fill up on some more energy. Because oftentimes sickness and unhealthiness and sluggishness and stagnation results from enervation, from taking too much energy into the system, right? More energy than it knows what to do with, especially if one's not physically active. When you get very sensitive, you'll feel and be really in tune with what's happening within you. Realize that the food that you take into you, everything, not just the food, all information, all content that you consume, mentally, materially, physically, leaves an impression. And if we're not careful, if we're not aware, that can impact, leave an impression in influence our self-suggestions, our self-image, our concept of ourself, our way of being in this manifestation, in creation. Drop the phone again. Need not break the flow though. And so, looping back to now. You don't want to wake up and fill up, right? I woke up today, it's like, hey, I want to go on a walk, because that's being aware of the energy within us. That's realizing that, hey, when I go on a walk, I'm connecting with the earth around me. I'm acting from the heart space, that air element, right? Breathing in the fresh air. We want to be like the air. The air doesn't love us. It's without care, but still it nourishes us. And thus, we can be like the air. Kind of not indifferent, not careless, but simply nourishing everything around us. It doesn't love us. It's neutral, but it still nourishes us. It allows us to connect to the heart, to breathe in that clean, crisp, fresh air, and realize the clean, crisp, fresh beauty of this moment. So you wake up, and go on a walk or do some exercise. That's liberating that energy within us. Being aware of this, our awareness, our energy and awareness are directly connected, right? We want to just spend the night charging up. So, that energy might be accumulated in the base of the spine, the earth element. So to rise that energy upward, we do some exercise, right? And then we can eat, right? We earn the food. Or perhaps we go home and you don't even really feel hungry. Like, I'm full, I'm content, I'm complete. So I'll meditate. I'll simply sit and, enjoy the present moment. That's continuous. You can have thoughts about the past, project onto the future, but nevertheless, it's all happening now. So to be rooted in that groundedness, in the present moment, you can realize a simultaneous transcendence. And it'll always be with you. You're always that watchfulness, that witness. No matter what you're doing, whatever the activity, even intense, physical, strenuous activity. Even as I speak to you now, I'm aware that I'm the awareness. I'm not the thoughts that are pouring out of me. I'm simply observing it as it's coming out of me. I'm not forcefully trying to control it. I'm not trying to control outcomes, right? I let the thoughts arise and express effortlessly. I was also thinking on the walk, I'm like, the mind need not be controlled. It needs liberation, not controlling. It needs to be free from limitation and hesitation, which stems from that self-image. Second-guessing oneself. Instead of there being a oneness with activity, where actions and awareness are one, where we're simultaneously aware of what we're doing without being overly identified with it. We're aware of what we're thinking and doing and being without being overly identified with it. Well, we're identified with the being, with that being, not with the having or doing, right? We can compartmentalize it. The having has to do with the body. I have this, I have that, okay? That's worldly content. And the doing has to do with the mind, right? But we don't have to be subject to the illusion of time. We can realize we're the being. We're the one being. The self. Self with a capital S. The same self within me and you and everybody else. So to loop back to the beginning of the video, instead of turning around and looking back, I decided to finish the walk. And I'm glad I did, because there's no need to rush. Can't rush the process. Gotta surrender to it. Move from compulsiveness to consciousness, from animality to spirituality. We don't gotta call it spirituality. We don't gotta give it that label. We certainly don't want to take on a spiritual identity. We can surrender the religious and spiritual paraphernalia and labels and interpretations that have to do with the self-image, and realize, hey, true spirituality, true religiousness, true righteousness is simply being one with our own existence. And we don't want to get hung up on the word righteousness, because at a high level of consciousness, we become aware that it's kind of an arbitrary vanity, a positionality. Oh, I'm righteous. That implies this isn't righteous. There's a natural righteousness in everything, and childlike righteousness and innocence, which again has to do with that simple witness, that watchfulness, which is beyond a self-image. It's humble. But humble is not something that a self-image that a personality can claim. A personality can't claim humility because it's not an emotion. It has nothing to do with the body, the mind, or emotion. It's a simply space where we arrive here and now, where we're not trying to dissect the world and analyze how or even why. We're not trying to find a meaning because there's no self-image present. There's no personality. It's timeless. It's an infinite silence. And when we're there, when we're here, we can move about in the world with zest. We can compartmentalize the personality. We can interact with the world harmoniously without taking the personality seriously. And kind of observe it like a loving pet. Kind of follows you around. And you're aware of it, but you're not identified with it. You're free of it. And thus you move through the world with zest. Like Jesus Christ said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. He certainly didn't wake up and fill up, right? That's really the state of purity, is not taking in so much energy, not trying to get something out of the world, not seeking to get love, but seeking to give it, right? Not seeking to accumulate this and get that and stimulate myself like this, but seeking to see what I can do for somebody else. Think about the value that somebody else's piece of creation, something that they brought into existence, that came into existence through them. Think about the value that that brought you. And think, hey, what if I can do that for somebody else? What if I can be that value? What if I can provide that a piece of creation, whether it be a video or a simple painting? If I can do that for somebody else, wow, that feels so good. We certainly won't consume mindlessly. We'll appreciate the beauty, creation, and we'll respect it deeply. Be aware of the energy. It's all around us. We'll think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And thus, we'll live in purity. We won't take in more energy into the body or mind that's required. We'll seek to give it. It was given freely to us. And so we might give that the label service. But we don't want to get caught up in self-image saying, hey, I'm a saint. I'm here to serve humanity. We don't want to get caught up in a saintly or otherwise identity. We don't want to claim to be enlightened, right? His point is, It's a state where that personal element is absent. Salvation is a state of purification, whereas enlightenment is disillusionment. It's complete eradication of that personal element. But it's not to say that we can't reactivate it, re-energize it, that ephemeral temporal element. We can compartmentalize it without identifying with it, right? Anyways, the hands are getting a little bit cold. I'm wearing the body now. Kind of forgot about them, and now they're numb. Love you guys.